a very rainy day here in Ohio. There's not a much better sound than sitting on a nice big front porch and just listening to the rain pound against the wood. But today I wanted to share a story with you. So the first year and a half of building this cabin, all of my windows as I was building was covered in plastic. The roof was covered in plastic. The separation from the house that I actually stayed at night and the log cabin was covered in plastic in order to keep the cabin warm in the wintertime and cool in the summer enough to sleep. Everything was covered in plastic. But the sound of that plastic really started to play into my imagination. Sometimes it would show up in my dreams, and the story I want to tell you today is one that I found hilarious after I lived it out. But at first it was probably one of the scariest moments of my life. So I didn't have any doors. There was no door on the cabin. There was no door separating the house where I slept at night from the outside. I simply pulled back a piece of plastic and walked through. And, you know, at night when I would sleep, you know, often I would get woke up by a gust of wind that would just smack that plastic and just send a compression wave through the house. But this one night, it was different. It was real different. So I was laying in bed, and it was like I heard someone grab that plastic real slow and pull it open, and then their body slid through the plastic. And I laid in my bed and I just listened real good. And I could hear as they were standing right inside that plastic, I could hear every time they shifted their body weight, every time they moved their weight from the right to the left, I could hear the floors creaking. And I could just tell that whoever this was standing just inside the plastic, no more than 10 or 12 feet from my bedroom door. And I could almost feel as they stared down the hallway to see if there was anyone home. And every time they shifted their body weight from right to left to get a different perspective, I could hear it. And I just knew there was someone out there. And I suppose I laid there, it was probably 20 or 30 seconds, but it felt like forever. Just waiting for those noises to quit or for my brain to identify what it was. You know, when you were a child and you would see something in the dark, your brain would sort of produce it into be something way worse than it really was. I mean, I can remember as a child, it would be a coat on the back of a chair, and why, for some reason, my brain thought it was a monkey sitting there. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Just our brains like to produce the worst case scenario. So I'm laying in bed and my brain is really dreaming up, you know, this is someone in my home, and I just didn't know what I was going to do. But I do sleep with a loaded .410 shotgun pistol right in the nightstand beside me. So I opened that drawer and I got that pistol out, and the last thing I want to do is have to shoot someone. But whoever this was in my home and I was trying to sleep, so they weren't welcome. So I laid there and I could just hear every time the body shifted weights from right to left, and I laid there long enough, and finally I just said, you know what, enough is enough. So I got out of bed and I got that pistol and I worked myself over toward my bedroom door, and I had that gun, you know, up like this, and sort of come around, and like I say, the last thing I wanted to do is shoot someone, but I wasn't going to have someone coming inside my home either. So I bounded around the corner to the absolute largest raccoon I've ever seen in my life, standing there exactly as my imagination had dreamed it up, except for in my brain it was a person, not a raccoon. So that raccoon was standing there, and we made eye contact, and I just was like, get out of here before I shoot you, you know, and he left, and ever since then, him and I have become buddies, you know. He comes back, and he'll knock on the windows, and I'll bring him up some food, and he sits out here, so, you know, I'm really glad that it wasn't a person, and I'm glad I didn't shoot him either, because even other people in the neighborhood say, you know, he'll come right up to you, and he'll get your snacks, or a couple of them have doggy doors on their house, and he just comes in and makes himself at home and leaves when he's done. So anyway, that's my little story for today. So have a good day.